All right, I have returned. Hopefully you all have as well. And I even have a very meowsy Miss Nisa on the desk. All right, let's go back to our scene. Meow, meow. Meow, meow, you say? Meow, meow, you say? Is that right? Meow. Okay. Well, as long as we have things straight. Yeah, I agree. How you doing, everyone? I am going slightly mad as I'm talking to cats. But I think that's what we have to, it's what we have to do. It's in the pact. The ancient one. I know the one you're talking about. Okay, very good. Very good. She's looking into your souls, everyone. Yeah? Really? That's true? I didn't think it was that bad. All right, let's, hey, ma'am. My rig is having a localized earthquake, and it's caused by the cat. Lurking while I drive home? All right, Miller. Then lurk and listen, as we are now going to... We are going to open up a Word document. Technically two. All right. This is our next exercise. This won't take very long, and it should be fairly easy to understand. What we're going to do is transfer information from our character sheets. Now we are the DM. We did some world building, and now our friends who passionately wrote up their characters, these are characters they want to play and they're happy with the decisions, hand them to us to review. And we say, okay, we're going to take this info and let's see what we can do to get an idea of what the party as a unit can do or what it brings to the table. This is one way you can express those notions. This is, and honestly, I could probably do this better in a spreadsheet and not on a document, but just roll with me here. So we have character 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we didn't give names. We didn't give names to the other characters. And that's fine for what we're doing. I guess that's like that. What I suggest... Actually, these need to come over. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we look at character 1, we have a strength of 15, a dex of 8, a constitution of 12, an intelligence of 10, a wisdom of 16, and a charisma of 16. We are proficient with wisdom and charisma. Okay. Passive perception, passive investigation. And if you ever wanted to add in other passives, especially insight, that's your natural BS filter. We know that our we put investigation for an example because that's specifically related to a feat in the player's handbook. Our passive perception is 13. Our passive investigation would simply be a 10. And then our hit points are 139. Now, I don't know what our armor class is. That could be important for purposes of comparing. Of seeing do we have a really low AC party or whatnot? I'm leaving it blank for now because we're level 17 epic level characters, and I don't know if at this point if we'd have all kinds of magic items. That would be individual conversations between the DM and the player. So now we're going to go over to character 2, our tiefling barbarian here. We have a 16, a 14, a 20, a 9, a 10, and a 14. Our big primary saves here are strength and con. Passive perception is 10. Passive investigation is 9. And we have 209 hit points. Now let's go over to character 3. We have a 12 strength. We have a 20 dex. We have a 9 con. We have a 16 int. We have a 16 wisdom. And we have a 13 charisma. Our prominent saves are strength and con. Passive perception is 19. Passive investigation is 13. And our hit points are 89. Then finally, we have our wizard, our transmutation wizard, who might be a lot older than she looks, or she just otherwise uses transmutation powers in different interesting ways, or it's accelerated her her growth of her mind. If she's still this like super young heiress to her drow family. However you want to process it, it's there. That's the character. And we'll come back to a concept of an abbreviation in a moment. All right, 8 strength, 14 dex, 16 con, 18 int, 12 wisdom, 14 charisma, and then we are good with int and wisdom. Our passive perception is 17. Actually, no, wait. We took linguist. So we won't get those bumps that you would definitely see here. But we do have a 17 passive perception, which isn't too shabby. And our passive investigation is a 20. Not too bad. And, oh, you know what? We didn't calculate hit points for her. She gets, I know she's not up on screen here. In fact, maybe I can swap, let's swap this. Properties. There we go. She gets 6 at first level. And then for her remaining 16 levels, she gets half plus 1, so that's 4. And then she gets, for all 17 levels, a bonus of her con mod. So that's 17 times 3. So we have 16 times 4, which is 64. And then we have 17 times 3, which is 51. This is going to give us 64 plus 57 is 121. The wizard has more hit points than the fighter. But there's good and compelling reasons for that. Now, there is room on here for a fifth character. We only have 4 in the party, so that doesn't really matter. All right, let's just go down the list. Let's look at our skill proficiencies, expertises, etc. We don't have anyone with Jack of all trades, which is JOAT. History. Religion. Insight. Survival. Deception. Performance. Persuasion. Barbarian. Athletics. Acrobatics. Intimidation. And performance. Fighter. Religion. Animal handling. Insight. And perception. And then lastly, we have our wizard. And she is proficient in Arcana, History, Investigation, Perception, and Persuasion. All right, what is this telling us? If you look here, these two, we can color red. No one in the party has proficiency in these skills. Now, we do have some skills where there is one person with proficiency. And this is kind of a very light yellow. I don't know why that's the case. Hopefully it's showing up for you in some way. And if you take a look here, it's yellow because we have it, but we need to use caution. For example, if something happens to the party wizard, she's split the party, she's been kidnapped, she's knocked out, then no one in the party has proficiency with Arcana. So the party has it, but there's not a backup for it. And then where we come over here and we have history, we're good. Green, or if you want to go, and I'll go blue if there's 3 or more, because then sky's the limit. Here, we have a backup or the ability to perhaps play off each other or help each other out when it comes to these skills. Now, as the DM, through this quick exercise, we can say, oh, okay, I can see where I can challenge the party. I see where, I see where this would be, where I would want to introduce consistent themes so that my players can use the skills that they would like to use during the course of the game. Fun little exercise. It took what? Just a couple minutes, and there we go. Now, here's another category, party tools and languages. You could set this up similar to what you saw above. Here, I just have a list. Now, if we don't count common, because they all have common, We have Elven, Infernal. Okay. So we have 2 instances of Elven. Elven times 2. We do have these open slots. We ended up getting one for being a half-elf and a noble here. So these are open. We can get 3 for with our Battle Master Fighter. And we can get 4 with our Wizard. Now, we don't have dwarves in the party. No one here speaks Dwarvish, even the Tiefling. And there might be a mysterious reason why this very old Tiefling can't speak Dwarvish. However, that would behoove us to look at our open slots and say, all right, well, given the nature of things, what if the cleric was taught how to speak, celestial, or primordial, or druid? And for being a noble, we have common and elven. The humans might have their own language, their own human language, and common is just the kind of mix of everything. So it works, but you can't convey a lot of nuance in it. So maybe she speaks human or whatever, Northern Empire or whatever, right? Or growing up here, if she sees the map on the map, this is my birthright. I have to rule over this place. I'm the fusion of these 2 people. I'm the culmination of all of this terraforming and strife. Maybe she learns to speak Dwarven. Or instead of even celestial or primordial or druidic, what if she learns to speak infernal and Dwarvish or Dwarven? So she can communicate with everyone as a noble. So we can think about that. So we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 9 open slots. Open times 9. I'm making a note there because some people might want to wait for a step like this to say, what would I know or where are we playing such that I would be exposed to this language? So that's fine. What about tools? Those are all of our languages. Oh, game 2. That was what the wizard had. We never ended up filling that in. Let me look real quick. Bookmarks, chapter 5, equipment, tools, and that is Dragon Chess. I thought it was Dragon Chess last night. Let me fill that in over here. So she is proficient at Dragon Chess, which I think might be a 3D style chess. I don't know. I really like 3D chess from Star Trek The Next Generation. We have cards, Dragon Chess, painter's supplies, so painting, disguise kit, and the viol. Now, if you want to put this per character instead, you can. If you list it out like this, this is at least telling you as a DM, these should come up at some point during the story. Try to incorporate these features of the characters. They're in this pool of talent that they have. Things that they can use. And you know what? It's probably pretty good that someone's good at cards or even Dragon Chess if they're in a desert Sin City, right? Oh, Dragon number 100 had the rules. It's rectangular 3-level chess. If it's a Dwarven city, someone should learn it. Probably so, Kragar. Whether you're conquering them or want to integrate in with them, it does help to learn the language. So now we know as a prompt, these are story elements that we can bring into play. And especially if we wanted to, our tiefling, who might be a ghost or a spirit or something, It could even be, what if she's the demon? Ooh. Um, she has a trinket, and so that could even be something interesting here too. She has trinket number 88, which was the story of an epic hero with the last chapter missing. And this could be a really good prompt for your story. Something to bring a little bit of, beef and spice into things. I don't think the others had trinkets, but of course, the signet ring, scroll of pedigree from the other nobles, etc. All right. Now, what about this section here called roles? Optional like anything else, but if you check it out, what this would be, character 1. Character 1, we have a cleric. And what would a cleric bring to... Do we have someone who's the face? Deception, performance, persuasion, noble? That seems to be the case, so we have a cleric. And so this would lead to healing magic. Healing ranged for damage. But she can also melee, and also is a melee. And even more so, she's a bonky cleric with her extra power she can channel. So here, we'll put healing magic. I guess that would be range damage. Range / melee damage. She's the face. You can put terms like that. The muscle, the face, whatever. However you want to abbreviate it. What would be another role she would take in the story? She is kind of, and we're going off of what the first character we made. There is some kind of main character to her, and you'll find this at tables that you run for or play at. And for a lot of us, as we play as players, we're happy to give up the spotlight or not be the main character for a good part of the story if we're leading a really cool, solid support, and we get our own development too. But she might even have this main character energy. All right, what about the barbarian? Meow, Rachie. Meow, wow. Barbarian brings melee damage. Hey, you want to come up and say hi to everyone? Come on. I know you don't hear the birds chirping, but if you did, you'd probably click at them. Come on. No, you're going to meow at me, paw at me, and then suddenly lick your paw. Got it. You needed to do that the whole time. So she brings, she is melee, and she is for sure, she is a tank. She is very tanky. Not that the cleric can't be, especially because she would take, she could take heavy armor, and so she's a turret in a sense. Well, no, she has to wade into combat. But the barbarian and the cleric are working together here in because of the powers, the totem powers. So we also have a mentor role. Tank, mentor, big melee damage. And not a lot of utility. She can use a disguise kit. So kind of a face. We'll just say a reputation disguise. Now, what about the fighter? fighter is not bringing melee. Ranged damage. It is not a tank either. Party support. Turret. Range damage, and in particular is a turret. Isn't really a face. Isn't bringing a lot of anything else. I mean, perhaps reputation in some way, but I mean, we also have 2 nobles and such. You can lean into some stuff, such as with Shelter of the Faithful. Yeah, I think that's it. The character's a lot more nuanced than the roles, but the roles are just looking at what's the bird's eye view of what the character brings to the party in a way more mechanical sense. So he's not a face. He's not even the brains. In fact, we're getting to that here with the wizard. Wizard brings ranged slash well like ranged or like magic damage, or however we want to put it. Healing magic, ranged magic damage, melee damage, ranged magic damage, utility spells, brains. She is the brains. Arcana, history, investigation, and is not bad in nature and religion, even though she's not trained in it. She's not a leader, though she does have these retainers as well. She's brains, and we have the face, probably brains and mouth. She is kind of mouthy, and she knows a lot of languages too. But maybe face and mouth would be close to the same thing. Well, all right, you can see what we're doing here with this. The list doesn't have to be exhaustive. As a DM, you can look at this information in these ways as well. And this can help you. This can help you with planning encounters, whether it's social or combative. This can help you in other ways. I want to give you different things to think about, different ways to put the data out there, because we all process things differently. And in a game of communication, communication's super important, including to yourself. Now, what's something else you can do? This is called, oh, apparently I have some old information from an old one. This is called a SWOT report. You find SWOT reports in business quite often. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Also, hi, Cleric. How you doing? Welcome. Strengths and weaknesses are things that are internal to the party. They're controllable. They're things that we know we're good at and that we know we're not good at. Opportunities and threats are external to the party. The common example I use is a lemonade stand. You can control how much sugar you put into the lemonade. You can control how much you charge for the lemonade. You realize that if you're a little kid, that you can't stop an adult from stealing a cup of lemonade from you and running away. Right? That's a part of you. You're not big enough, or you don't want to you don't want to be threatened by an adult to push you down and steal your lemonade. External to you, opportunities. You don't control the weather. And you could argue that you could break down weather into opportunities and threats, but the weather, how hot is it? If you have a rainy summer, you can't help that, and a rainy summer is going to be a threat to your business because it's cooler and people aren't walking down the street to buy lemonade from you. An opportunity that's outside of your control would be, I don't know, a neighbor sees your stand, and it might take a week of you going out there in the hot sun selling lemonade, but the neighbor rallies together other people in the neighborhood, and one Saturday evening, everyone in the neighborhood shows up and they buy lemonade from you. That was an externality to your business. That was external. That was an opportunity. So think about that. Go and reference what the party looks like from the sheet. Just scroll up if you really want to, and look at things this way. We have a very charismatic party. Look at this. In fact, if we have our fifth row here, we could even do this. Let's go 15 plus 16 plus 12 plus 8. And we get 51. Let's go 8 plus 14 plus 20 plus 14. And that's 56. Now let's go 12 plus 20 plus 9 plus 16. That's 57. Now we're going to go 10 plus 9 plus 16 plus 18, and we get 53. Wisdom is 16 plus 10 plus 16 plus 12, and that's 54. Charisma is 16 plus 14 plus 13 plus 14 is 57. Now, if we take a look at those numbers, 57 charisma, 57 con, 56 dex, there's a mix. Really, this is kind of a balanced party. You know, there is one dump stat strength, one dump stat dex, one dump stat con, one dump stat int. So the dump stats are spread out. We have a max dex, we have a max con, and then we have an almost max int, and then we have some pretty decent averages. I would say a weakness would be there's no one who's proficient with dex saves, and there's no one who's proficient with no, actually that's it. So we could say a weakness would be dex saves, and a strength, we're very social and we endure. But I would almost say that a strength for the party, fairly averaged stats. In fact, of 4 people, we're only missing 4 skills. Now, while we do have high dex, 56, specifically, if you want to say a weakness internal to the party, we have no sneaks. Except through magic or shape-shifting, but we don't have any sneaks. But you see how we can do this? We look inside the party. A strength would be strength. Or at least saves. Or I guess a con is definitely a strength. So what this tells me as a DM, we're in a desert environment. Maybe I have heat be a mechanic in the game where con saves are needed, or face exhaustion or dehydration. We can import some rules from Dark Sun if we really wanted to, because the party is generally good at con and con saves. So that could be something interesting. that they can overcome, or would be a good challenge that they won't get aggravated if it's brought up fairly consistently. Now, we could go on and I'm sure list, 20 more things. What are some opportunities and threats to the party? Opportunities would be anything regarding religion or civics. I mean social, like social things, social combat, social stuff, and religion. Tons of opportunities. We can get into the weeds on this. We can do lore bombs. We can have some awesome investigation here because our party really leans into this. Can put on performances to convince people, to convince hearts and minds and souls. And also hopefully not get sacrificed at some point in time to the demon temple to keep the water pumping. Threats are that only one character is a local, and the others are actually competing to try and take the place over. This is an evil campaign after all, right? We might learn lessons and about morality and whatnot along the way, but only one character is a local, and that's the one who's actually trying to break this cycle with the half-elf noble, as she feels like she's under so much pressure. That is a huge threat, because while the dwarves and tieflings get along, and these characters, they're epic level, they're level 17. Have you ever started a campaign that high? Especially when you roll into town, you can boss everyone around. What are they gonna do? Shoot a bow and arrow at you? You can tell people where to go, what to say, what to do. Bow before me, give me money, give me food, give me shelter, tell me things. Doesn't mean they like you. So even though we're a social party, only one of us is a local. And that local, and this is internal, so this might be a weakness. Tiefling undermining others. Now, if not undermining or betraying, is at least trying to get these people to break out of their noble and religious mindset, because that could also stop the invasion as well. You're undermining a friend who's going to go do something stupid by saying, there's a lot of cool stuff that I look forward to doing with you in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. You've completely undermined your friend from doing something terrible or stupid. So congratulations, you did a good thing by by interfering. And that might very well be this chaotic neutral character's point, which we would have talked about between player and DM. So that is the SWAT, okay? This really focuses on the mechanics of the party. This is, in a sense, a party sheet, a party character sheet. This prompts us to say, I know we're not good at sneaking, but I want to work in disguise or acting. There's shows in Las Vegas, or maybe you have this 98-year-old tiefling. Maybe she doesn't look like she's 98, even though she is, which is kind of the reverse of our drow. And she's putting on shows at the Gleaming Dwarf Brothel. You have moments of social combat or strategy through cards or dragon chess. Everything doesn't have to be about, summoning meteors from the sky to destroy things. You can do that easily. You're epic level. You are as gods among men even in a place like this, some sin-filled backwater in the middle of the desert. And with that power comes the responsibility. This is a cool concept for a game. Now, another way that we can examine the party is through a series of prompts and looking at not the crunch, not the numbers and the mechanics, but the fluff. The fluff is the story. The fluff is the sentiment. The fluff is the behavior, the things that aren't determined by dice rolls. And how we do that is with this. What do we do with this information? I'll show you. In fact, let's move. There we go. Character 1, name. We don't have a name. Not worried about that. But if we did, then there's a name building exercise. We ran out of time, so I didn't do it. It's something that we can talk about. But we would have whatever. So-and-so is the name. So-and-so is a neutral evil female half-elf cleric nature noble position positive position of privilege. This is going to be important in just a little bit. Roll with me on this, okay? Let's come up here. Character 2. Blah. Blah, blah. Okay? Blah, blah is a chaotic, neutral, female tiefling barbarian totem entertainer gladiator slash actor. Gonna save some space. We'll call her BB instead of blah blah for right now. Chaotic neutral, female tiefling, barbarian, totem, entertainer, gladiator slash actor. All right, cool. So far, so good. This exercise seems to be similar to what we saw above, or on the other sheet. Now, let's go to character 3. We have a lawful evil. Lawful evil. Male. Actually, hang on. I can do this. That'll save me a lot of headache. Lawful evil. Male human. Battlemaster fighter. Acolyte. Lawful evil. Or, this is, his nickname is Male Human Fighter. He is a lawful evil male human fighter battle master who is an acolyte. And then we have character 4, and she, we have, Oh Ho Ho, who is a lawful evil female drow wizard transmutation noble retainers. Cool. So and so, blah blah, male human fighter, and oh ho ho. These words are going to be important in a second. Now, a synopsis. What's a sentence or two that we can say about this character? And we can change it. We can, part of this is finding connections or improving them. Here we have, born from the invading drow human families. She is under immense pressure to live up to a lineage to which she may never actually inherit. Quote, has to be the bad guy because nobody else will, even for their own good. So having a quote, having a sentence like that. Now, what about our barbarian? Synopsis. This could be secret. If this was the secret here, we might have that, you know, blah blah, our barbarian, our totem barbarian here. A spirit that hasn't moved on from the lands and is trying to empower so-and-so to break the chains that bind her, loosen up, and in the process free her own people from their attachment to the demon. Which compels artificial living. She's very authentic, very straightforward, very earthy. So no one knows that she's actually, she's dead or passed on, she's a ghost, or maybe she just is a manifested spirit. But everyone, the other players don't know. This is secret between us. So there are stakes. She can die, she could dissipate. But what she needs to do is to try and get involved in this in some way. Be that agent of chaos. All right, now what about a synopsis here for our fighter? And oh, by the way, we can also put things like young adult, neutral evil, in case that is relevant. Because, for example, we have a young adult here. We're gonna call her so and so. She's Sass. Here we have a venerable, chaotic neutral. She's 98. Here we have an adult, lawful evil male human fighter. And then for our fourth character, she is also a young adult. But is she actually? Or is her powers just giving her that appearance? Don't know. Let's make it compelling. Let's make it interesting. Let's have fun at our table telling a story. But, oh, this is wrong place for that. But you can also put something like that in the name or with a synopsis here. So we have heir to the invading humans who is under let's do this. He's a sickly heir. He has low con. That's his dump stat. Sickly heir to a religion and family who believe in survival of the fittest. Strikes first, fast, and is vicious. Commands others to action as it protects him. No heirs himself, which puts him under tremendous pressure. To succeed here. And then we have here, noble daughter of the Drow competing for this land. She is short but carries herself above everyone else. Too smart for her own good. Spies through... We'll call it warging. She can turn into animals with her transmutation powers. Warging and retainers. Looking to prove herself here in this battleground to inherit her titles from her family at war with the humans. Now, if we wanted to put other connections, like a familial connection, so for example, it came up that maybe character 1 is related to character 3 and 4, because you have like the purebred human, purebred drow. At some point, those parents got together in some way, and character 1 happened. There could be resentment. There could be something else. These two might not even recognize or understand that relationship. So we can have familial conflict. We can have issues of love and pressure and all of this that are baked into it. This could be very compelling. All right. Now, this next part is going to be super easy. I am actually going to move this over because I'm going to copy and paste. For character 1, this is what we're going to do. What's her personality like? Now, you might wonder, all right, so Matt, why are you just copying all this stuff over? I don't understand. How is this relevant to me as a DM in trying to find stats or balance combat or otherwise try to run a good game and a compelling story for my players? And the reason we're doing this, there's a much more visual way that you could express this. Some people like seeing it written out, or this might give you a different perspective than what a drawing could give you. But the reason we're doing this is because we are going to now forge links between the characters. They may be mostly evil, and evil does fight evil, whereas good doesn't tend to fight good. However, despite this, we are going to see, and we're going to see that the characters can get along in various ways, even if they're alliances that come and go or over one topic or another. This is going to help us understand the relationship dynamic, and in the case of a session 0, this could even allow the players who may have created their characters in bubbles, maybe did some collusion. This is going to let our players find these connections as well. Why would someone like this ever want to work with this oh ho 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 kind of stuck up snooty brat know-it-all who is also a noble and is probably directly vying for the attention of the parents or something, right? And there is a good chance for conflict, but where can we find similarities? And I found a cat. Hi. Now what we do is we can start highlighting, just like we did in the prior document. What are things that you think could bond the characters in some way? And you might find a personality trait syncs up with an ideal, syncs up with a flaw, syncs up with half a sentence in the synopsis. But we have the information in front of us, and now we can look for it. I mean, even if we just wanted to, right here, if we go half elf, we could highlight that green. We can also go over here to human, and we can also go into drow. This is an obvious one. We see the green are connections. And in this case, this is all, this is all here. Yeah, it is. Meow. I'm glad you believe me, ma'am. If we mix it up some, what else can we find here? No one could doubt by looking at my regal bearing that I am a cut above the unwashed masses. Meow. What else? My eloquent flattery makes everyone I talk to feel like the most wonderful and important person in the world. All right. And you could take partial sentences or the full. For simplicity, let's do this. We make people feel good. This can sync or be related to the bond. Everything I do is for the common people. Could that sync up with something here? This might even be, I like seeing the smile. So now we have a personality trait sync up with a bond, sync up with an ideal, and because of the fact that she is a spy through her retainers, in this case, we can highlight the fact she has retainers. As commoners, she sends out to go spread rumors and collect information. This is a bond that all four share. Now, the three share this bond of blood that is not shared here. This doesn't mean that this character, that the tiefling, is now excluded and can never talk about heritage or race or a mixing of blood or culture or societal issues. It's not immediately shared, and we can see that it stands out, but that means that these three can get around certain topics, and when the spotlight falls on blah blah here, this is a really good spotlight, especially for an entertainer. And in fact, we might even just be able to go, this is a background feature. Maybe entertainer is also a part of that. Or if we wanted to bring in things such as being a nature cleric, let's color this light blue. We have a nature cleric. Maybe not necessarily the barbarian part, but the totemic part of it is very natural. Then we have an acolyte of this faith over here. And transmutation can do a lot of things, but in particular, she uses this to warg or turn into animals. Now you can see, as we have the information all around us, we're finding these links, we're connecting them. In fact, these sisters, whether they're sisters or in spirit in some way, both have noblesse oblige. No one can look doubt by my regal bearing. These two are very, despite them looking different, she's the shortest and the lithest. She is she's 6 foot and like 250 or something like that. They look very different, not just because you have pure blood and mixed blood, you have height and weight differences. They're both nobles, but there are some commonalities that these two would share as sisters. That even if he comes in on another, on the human side of the family, he doesn't share the same kind of nobility. He shares the faith, and so what he shares, he's an acolyte, she's a cleric. So for here, that might be their link more in faith than in their noble station, but they're all linked together here. And then you have her. She is an entertainer. She entertains the masses for the common people. She's a representation in our story of that. And if you look, protect the people beneath me, to protect the people beneath me. Even though she believes everyone is beneath her, right? I will face any challenge to win the approval of my family, and also I'm in love with the heir of a family. So she's being kind of bratty. She's going around. She's in love with someone that she shouldn't be. Meanwhile, she's doing all the bad stuff and getting the bad reputation for being mean because she wants to win the approval she doesn't have. Here you have the little bratty sister is almost flaunting this noble station, and she can just she's not in the faith, she's just in the family. And what if she has her eyes on a human, whether it's this human or not? She has eyes on a human in order to try and even outdo her sister. That while they share similarities, there is this natural drive to, survival of the fittest. Do you see how we're finding these cool interlinking things, and you can use colors to highlight it? Great stuff to talk about with your players. If you want to do this visually, open up Paint and make this, except with little bubbles that you connect with lines. That's really what we're doing. Now, we could spend another hour breaking this down, and this can help us learn even more about the characters. Let's step outside the characters because you should have the gist of things for that by now. What do we have as far as a setting inspiration from each of the characters as they are bringing their character sheets? And remember, this is the 2014, this is 5th edition, not 2024 5th Est edition, the superlative. This is also why I like how characters are built in 5th edition. They're just not mechanical. All of this you miss in 2024. At least out of the book. Not that you couldn't do it yourself. All right, now we have our setting inspiration. Well, from what we learned over here in Character 1, what are buildings or aspects of the area that we need to consider existing for this character to exist? No one can doubt by looking at my regal. Oh, you know what? We do need an entrance to the Underdark somewhere in this as well. Maybe that's out of one of the those like fingers of stones I was talking about that are out in the desert. We'll have to add that. So her family is so. Let's say that they're and remember, the city was taken over by a cabal, right? That could be these outsiders of different faith and lifestyle. So she gets to live in this palace to rule over the dwarves and the tieflings, while her people fight and jockey and terraform all around them, and the dwarves and the tieflings are just sort of like, okay. Well, all the war that involves them is going on around them, but not necessarily putting them at risk. It would be, well, it wouldn't exactly be like Pokemon Go, but in Pokemon Go, you have a gym, right? And other people who play Pokemon Go compete. That gym could be a church in your neighborhood. It's not like, even if there's 3 people and they're each from the 3 different teams, they're not tearing down the structure when they're taking over the gym, but they are fighting over it. Meanwhile, everyone who's going to service at the church has no idea it's even going on, that there's this turf war happening. So that could be a similar thing. All right, anyway. So setting inspiration, there is this where the two sides meet, there's some sort of a palace of neutrality to let the sides talk, trade, or is whatever, right? So there's a structure there that is a part of this building. She was born into this world of mixed blood of this conflict. That's where she lives. There should be some sort of palace, house, gardens, or something for her. Now, what about character 2? A spirit that hasn't moved on from the lands, trying to empower. Also, she's a gladiator and an actor. Maybe she's been to the brothel before. She probably doesn't work there, or at least she did in life if she is in fact dead. But this, with her being a gladiator and an actor, there's going to be a gladiator pit somewhere, and perhaps a theater or two that she's worked at before. I love a good insult, even one directed at me. Hopeless romantic, always searching for that special someone. I like seeing smiles on people's faces when I perform. That's all that matters. My instrument is my most treasured possession. Reminds me of someone I love. And it doesn't have to be her instrument. It could be something else. So she is a hopeless romantic, and but she's also unreliable to her friends. Maybe she's scatterbrained, or she's just so independent that she likes people, she loves people, but people can't ever connect with her. But we have, at least here, or as a local, does she have a house in Old Town, or Tiefling Town, or whatever, right? Old Stomping Grounds. What about character 3? This is the lawful evil male human battlemaster fighter acolyte, sickly. Oh, a palace of neutrality to talk, and as well, nature church. Shrine? Can I fit that in one? Yeah, there we go. And maybe that's what the palace is. Actually, maybe this is the nature, the warring nature gods common worship house, or like palace, whatever you want to call it. Now, he also would be bringing some sort of religion, and that would bring him here. That's already existed. Now, he would back up that something like this has to exist as well. He does do a lot of hunting. I've enjoyed fine food, drink, and high society among my people's elite. Rough living grates on me. I'm intolerant of other faiths and condemn the worship of other gods. He might be there to actually, to also try and get rid. So while she has really nothing to do with him, he's working on getting rid of the demon that's holding the people just from a different angle, and is probably being more of an ass about it. He does paint, so that would necessitate some sort of perhaps artists guild and support industry for art. So this would mean that in town there would be people who make paints and dyes and canvas and paper and brushes and everything else, because that's what he does and he enjoys doing it. And you can still do this with, yeah, you can do this in 2024. It's not as directly shown as it is in the 2014 Big Slam. And then character 4, what are some setting inspirations? Noble daughter of the Drow, competing for this land. She's short but carries herself above everyone else. Too smart for her own good, spies through warging and retainers, looking to prove herself here. All right, she requires high fashion. So, textile industry, fashion, the entrance to Underdark as well is something that she's also reinforcing as she's here. Look my best. cut above. I'm in love with the air of a family, and I secretly believe everyone's beneath me. And then some sort of, I guess, maybe magic college. So she can learn her spells and trade and such. That might necessitate something like this also needing to exist in our setting. And now that we've been handed all this, we know that we can drop this on the map and it'll work. And we'll find a way to take these concepts and organically weave them into what we've already made. NPC inspiration. I don't need to do the whole thing like I did. With setting, you get the idea, but here's an obvious one. We have her first fan who gave her that token of appreciation, as well as special someone that can exist out there. This might just be various like house staff and clergy. He would definitely be involved in the clergy. And he also is around more of the noble elites. I mean, these two are kind of, she's more out in the field though. She likes proving herself, and he'll sit back and eat cheese and drink wine. That's how he jockeys his position. She's out doing stuff because she has to prove herself harder than these two do in their own families. House staff, clergy, city officials, since she's a noble. Maybe even more of the city than the noble of the humans, noble of the drow. And then, of course, we have the retainers and perhaps some sort of a like magic school connection. I guess we ended up just doing all four. Villain inspiration. Very obvious with this character. The Fiend. The Fiend, who she sees as tearing apart her people. And then even for the others, all three of them might just go, might just say mom and dad. Whatever, like mom drow, dad human or something. Parents. Parents. And so there might just be this couple that made her, but exist in their own worlds as well. Like this was them trying to maybe have a middle ground and use, like, take over this middle ground city as a middle ground between them in this ongoing war. They each, they have their own families. They each also then produced an heir for this middle ground itself. And so she's caught between these worlds of the drow and the humans from the north or whatever. And so it can all come back to that. And you don't need an entire rogues gallery for a campaign. We have two powerful motivators. We have the warring tribe, and then we have this overarching, just this existential crisis. The monster that, unless everyone comes together, can't actually defeat, but no one can come together because they're all fighting and worrying about which shoes to wear with their battle purse or whatever else, right? Adventure inspiration, which would continue down here. Same thing. This talks about the concepts that we just did. But if you're sitting alone and you're writing it out, maybe you need to do it this way. That would be facing down moral hazards and challenges, aspects of love, aspects of even of the taboo. Oh, I'm in love with an heir of a family that my family despises, or a taboo of going against nature, or aspects of conquering but without absolutely destroying the people and resources of the place. We've all talked about that. I don't need to fill that in, but it's there so that you can see that as a prompt and take it from there. Yeah, the monster that lurks beneath. So everyone's so concentrated on the parents. They're the ones causing the war, the religious strife. They're the ones making her do and say bad things. They're the ones that let her get away with everything because she's the favorite daughter. They're the ones who, you know, you know, these that have treated him such that he has become vicious in order to survive. Otherwise, he'd be taken out. He's weak. He has a dump stat constitution. He needs to strike fast, strike hard, and get out of there. He has to command other people. The second he lets his guard down, he's done, and he knows it. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. And she is, in her own sense, is carrying herself with artifice because the pressures of her family. I have to be the perfect princess. I will always look perfect with my transmutation. I'll always, you know, of course I'll carry myself. Look, she doesn't even, if she goes around with the people, it's after battle. She's dirty and filthy. It's disgusting. He doesn't, he's only worried about the religious people. Someone needs to rule over the common folk, but with dignity and class. They need to look at me and see that I am clean, that I am pure. Because have you looked at her? And she's not going to do it. She has a foot in the grave already. Maybe more than that player thinks. I hope that you enjoyed this exercise. This is a fun one. This is one that I hope opens your mind, opens your eyes, and lets you as the DM, let alone if you want to do a session 0 with your players, sit down and now get all of your info in one place, compare and contrast, and say, all right, I think this adventure is going to lead us in this direction. And if you're ready for it, let's start the narration, and session 1 begins now. But we've looked at them mechanically. We've looked at them in a more fluffy, not crunch, but fluff, in a fluffy way. We have considered these aspects, and we've discovered connections we didn't know before. We got to add to the map that we already made. We get to add to our cast of NPCs and villains that we had thought about, but maybe hadn't finalized until we had a direction given to us by these characters. And the peak of it all works together. All of this organically fits into what was made, and it caters to the 4 players who made these characters that they want to explore the mechanics and themes of who they brought to the table. You as the DM are bringing it together, and you have fun by weaving that tale as they continue to feed you storyline and dice roll results and everything else. Everyone wins. The story works. It's not jarring. We have some interesting, some less common or original fantasy ideas. We get to explore, you know, like, oh, nature is so wonderful, and, you know, we eat food, and we're dancing under the shade of the trees, and there's always cold, fresh water, and oh, look at the cute woodland creatures. This is a nature-themed evil campaign. There's a lot of not caring about the lesser folk going on here. And if someone dies, feed them to a tree. Make them useful. It's only natural. And so we get to have fun with things that might be more common tropes in D&D or other fantasy style games. It's great. I love how we do things here. And I'm always open to suggestions, or especially if you've ever used this system or something close to it, let me know, please. I would love to know that I helped you and your table get together and do this sort of stuff. It writes itself. Everything works, it fits, and we have a setting. It's all here. Now, when we come back, not tonight. The workshop for tonight the workshop is over. But when we come back to the workshop tomorrow. Oh. Hello? What is that? Apparently it's some autoplay video. Sorry about that, everyone. when we come back, let's talk about writing this up as a campaign. What could we do? What could we think about, especially going into this from an epic level standpoint? We're starting at level 17. We are powerful. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be up for a while. So if there's anything you want to talk about, is you want to send a message through Discord, you can. I'm going to go take us onto a raid into the library of Jing. Jing is the rebranding of Kobold Sprig. So if you knew her as Kobold Sprig, the pink Canadian kobold variety gamer, she's still pink and Canadian and a variety gamer, but she's rebranding her stream to Library of Jing. She's currently playing Warframe. You can talk to her about tabletop games, about video game style role-playing games, about all sorts of stuff. She's in the trenches with us. She can talk mechanics of D&D or storytelling themes and concepts. She's done a little smithing in her life. She's done a little cooking in her life. She's a very vibrant and unique individual. Let's go say hi to Jing, who was Kobold Sprig, is now Jing. And I'll see you around, everyone. We're going to come back. It's Saturday. We'll do a workshop, and we'll also have some fun and talk, and we'll wrap everything up. I hope you enjoyed this. This was great. This is refreshing. We're smiling. We're wildly gesticulating on camera. Ooh, does that break PG-13? Can I gesticulate? And there's things in the works for Discord and beyond. So hold on tight, and I'll see you around, everyone. Take care.
I don't have the key.
Oh, I have it. Making pizza isn't the worst thing either.
Yeah, pizza's like the only one that
The hardest part of making a pizza is just making the sauce. Like, if you're making it all from scratch, the hardest part is the sauce. That's it.
Yeah, I still cheat and just buy